Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about who to go to for advice about the medical billing and coding career field. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay, so the question that gets brought up a lot is people will come to me and say, Blue, I have no idea which way to go. My teacher said that I should get this certification and that I should get that certification, and they said I should be a member of this association or that association. I just don't know what to do. Where should I start? How do I know who to listen to? People are telling me that I won't have a career in 5 years, and they're saying that this is not worth it, that nobody gets hired. Who do I listen to? All right, so this is what we're getting into today. The first thing that I will say is this. Yes, a lot of this field is doing your research as far as like, okay, there's two major medical coding associations. There's the American Health Information Management Association and the American Academy of Professional Coders. I will be leaving their information in the description box of this video. So I encourage you to go to the associations and check them out yourself. Here's the deal. Now, sometimes in schools, sometimes teachers will be told that they need to push a certain credential or credentials, and they need to push a certain association. Here's the thing. If you get certified with AHIMA or AAPC, employers are happy. These are who they're looking for if you're credentialed through one of them. That's number one. Number two, you need to look at the person that you are going to advise about this career field to. Is this a person that is in the field? Is this a person who knows the field? This is not just your instructors, because while your instructors may know about the subject of medical coding, sometimes instructors haven't been out in the field physically working in the industry in years. And so things have changed. You know, when you have the perspective of being a teacher for many years versus somebody who's actively in the industry coding and is also teaching, the perspectives are going to be different. So not everything that people tell you is 100% concrete and in stone. It's not everything that you hear that you have to do. I have heard horror stories of brand new medical coders being told they have to get a certain amount of credentials, 2 and 3 and 4 or 5 credentials. Oh, it's going to make you look so good. Employers are going to embrace you with open arms. And a lot of these additional credentials are saying the same thing that the one credential is saying. When you really start to look at the credentials and what they mean, and that information is available on the websites under the tab for the credentials. You can find out what it is that that person needs to know. And all these other additional specialty credentials, it does nothing but make your name look longer, yes, but it doesn't get the attention of an employer if you don't have experience yet. So that's something that if people are telling you this, then you kind of really need to stop and think about who you're listening to. And see, that's what I want you guys to walk away with today. Think about who you're listening to. If they're pushing a certain association, if they're pushing a certain credential, think about what is their interest in getting you on board with this, okay? Because all you need is one credential. Now, you don't even have to believe me for that. You can look at the job listings and it will say candidate must be certified with AHIMA or AAPC, and they'll usually ask for whatever credentials that they're looking for. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I want you guys to think about, again, who are you listening to? I have heard from people who said, well, my classmate said this and my classmate said that. Again, your classmate is somebody that's on the same level as you. Okay? Literally on the same level as you. You're both learning. So if they're not able to understand something, misery loves company, right? We all know this. And so this is why I strongly caution you guys when you're getting into these study groups and things like that, that you make sure that the people that are around you are going to be positive. They are on the same path as you. They have the same kind of goals in mind as you, and they're not just trying to get through a program, okay? So sometimes if you're listening to your fellow students, a lot of that information, guys, is going to be their fears wrapped up into whatever they're telling you, something that they heard somebody else say, and they're trying to brush it off as a fact. So that's something that you have to think about as well. Everything that you're listening to Can this be backed up with fact? Now, when you come to my channel, I tell you guys all the time, you have your choice between a HEMA and AAPC. I do not say one is better over the other. I have never said that, and I will never say that. But I've also told you guys that you really do need to do your research. And when it comes to getting additional credentials, the thing about the additional credentials is when you sign on for those additional credentials, those specialty credentials, and there are some good specialty credentials that make sense once you've had experience. The CDIP, the CCDS, the CCDSO, those are those kind of specialty insurers, the specialty credentials that make sense, because that's clinical documentation improvement, okay, with a HEMA or ACTIS. So there's additional credentials that make sense once you've had time in the field and you're trying to get more specialized. That makes sense. But all these other billing credentials, you don't have to be certified to be a biller, guys. You can look at the billing jobs and see that they do not require a billing certification. So again, when you're listening to people, think about who you're listening to. Think about where are their perspectives? Where are they coming from? Are they a frustrated student who has maybe had a few knockdowns and they're getting really discouraged, so now they want to discourage you? So again, be careful about who you're listening to. And when I went to school, when I was in medical coding school, there was a lot of negativity with a lot of these students that were there. And some of that negativity was coming from the people that they were around, telling them that they couldn't do it. So they started to get discouraged. And once that seed takes root, it's really hard to reverse out of that. So I spent a lot of time on my own trying to learn by myself. I had my mom with me. My mom was amazing and she helped me. And I always say that I owe my career to my mom because she was the one who supported me through that whole thing. So it's good to have a good supportive system around you. If a person is not a medical coder, guys, consider finding a medical coder that you can talk to, that is an actual person in the field, not somebody that is a nurse who's never been a medical coder. I have heard many students say, oh, they heard this and that from a nurse and how it's not really a good field. Is that nurse a medical coder? Well, no, but they have okay, that's their opinion, right? And so that's the thing. Again, you have to really think about where are these people coming from. Nurses, while they have a lot of knowledge, if they haven't been a medical coder, they don't know. And I have had one student that I had to really kind of talk to because she almost dropped the whole thing because she talked to a nurse who was not a medical coder, who practically discouraged her from getting into this until I said, oh no ma'am, let me show you this. And I showed her a lot of these facts, and then she was like, oh, I feel so much better, and I was about to give it up. Don't let somebody else who's not a medical coder make you give up on your dream, all right? There's a lot of information. There's a lot of groups. I tell you guys to stay away from those Facebook medical coding groups, even though I have a Facebook page for Medical Coding with Bleu now, only because you all requested it. I don't do a whole lot with it, but I tell you guys to be careful because there's a lot of negativity in those groups. A lot. More negativity than there is positivity. So again, what they say in those groups is, oh, you know, I'm not able to find a job. I'm not able to get anything because it's just so saturated out there. That's not true, guys. It's not true. And again, listening to people who are not in the same lane as you want to be is not really a good thing, right? So pick and choose very carefully who you're listening to. Even the people with the employment agencies, you got to be careful about listening to those folks as well, because sometimes they will push different credentials because this is what they see a lot of. And so if they see somebody that is with a different credential or something like that, well, I said, well, maybe you should get this other credential. And see, here's the thing, guys. If you're certified with a HEMA or AAPC, that's all you need, okay? Sometimes people will say, well, you know, get with AAPC, it's better. There is not one association that is better than the other one. So if somebody is telling you that, again, that's their personal bias. And again, I will never say one is better than the other, even though I am certified with a HEMA. I will never say that one is better than the other, okay? both of them have the potential to have really good medical coders, and that's where my concern is. I'm not concerned with what certification or how many certifications, or if you were a nurse. I'm not concerned with that. What I'm concerned with, and what other medical coders should be concerned with, is what does this medical coder know? Because again, it's about a team environment, right? Because we all work together to help the provider, to help the facility, to help, whoever we're coding for. And it takes everybody. If one person's not a strong coder, it can bring the whole team down. So it's about being a strong medical coder. But again, just because a person has a long line of credentials, or maybe they have a prestigious credential, it doesn't mean that they know everything. And they should be able to tell you things objectively, not subjectively, okay? So objectively being like, okay, we can prove these things. Subjectively is enforcing my opinion and my feelings about this. That's why I tell people, even when they ask me, is this a good field for me? I tell people up front that I am a very biased source because I love the field of medical coding. But I will say that it is not for everyone. So again, if you are wanting to do this, if you're wanting to find a mentor, find a tutor, reach out to the association. When you are sitting for a HEMA or APC certified, certifications, that is your opening, okay? You can, if you're a member, you can start going to the member meetings and start, meeting people and making those connections, because we are all about connections, okay? So make sure that you start not just listening to people just because of what they say. Even in medical coding, it is a side effect of our profession, is that we always have to back things up with fact. And it's the same way when you're getting in, and it's the same way with just listening to people. Because even when you do get into the field, you're going to have some people that say, well, this is the way we do it at our facility, and this is the way we've always done it. Okay, that's not the way to be when you're a medical coder. You know better than that, right? We know that these codes get updated every year. We know that things change and rules change. We have to change along with those rules. If the facility has different rules, then that's something different. But if they're doing the same thing over and over and over again, because it's the way we've always done it, that's when we need to start questioning things. You have to start being able to question what you hear. Okay, so start even before you get your certification, okay? Because again, there's going to be people out there that have their biased opinion that they don't know. And they'll say, well, medical coders don't make anything. You don't know anything, okay, if you say that. I'm just saying. Everybody knows medical coders get paid well. Everybody knows that this field has been around and it will be here for quite some time, okay? They've been saying, oh, medical coding is going away since before I started in 2008, and hello, 13-year career. So that's the thing, guys. You can't believe everything that you hear. If I believed everything that I heard, I would have never got through medical coding school, right? Because it would have been like, oh, and you hear that a lot. Oh, you'll never get a job. You haven't met me, have you? I'm a little bit more determined than that. And you have to have quite a bit of that determined behavior when you get into this, because you're going to hear a lot of negative things from people. So be careful who you're listening to. If that person is not a medical coder, consider not listening if they're telling you something that is just like doesn't make sense at all. Not everybody knows everything. Even people, who are trying to hire people, oh, you need to get this certification or you need to get that certification. That's a ridiculous thing I've ever heard. If you've been certified with a HEMA or APC and they tell you, oh, you need to get the other association. No, you don't. I'm just saying. So that's my advice anyway, guys. Best wishes to you out there. If you have a question, go ahead and post it. I do get back to some questions. Sometimes I'll just leave a link for a video if I've already done it before. It really all depends. Some of it, you can go to the association. If you can find it on the association website, I will direct you to the association website, so that way you can start doing your research from there. So, but again, guys, this is my advice anyway. Best wishes to y'all. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.